Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of the brand new Auto Trail Expedition C71. Starting the walk round on the driver's side of the vehicle first. First point you get to is your mains connection point. So if you slide the flap up, get your hooker bleed, lift the collar and expose the end, and then you want this bit to go on top of the hooker point. Always hook the vehicle up first and then the power source, so you're not exposed to a live lead. Underneath you've got a grey outlet. This is your wastewater outlet, so this is any water that you've put down a plug hole. Normally on the way out of a site, if you're not on a super pitch, you'd go over the motorhome service bay and you just use the toggle on the side and this will drain off the wastewater. It's very important in the winter that you allow this out, as you wouldn't want the water to freeze in the pipework and tanks. Two fridge vents, so these have got your covers on at the moment, which you put on from about end of October, November to March. Once the weather gets warm, these do need to come off, as they will stop the fridge performing correctly, as it will get too hot. But remember, you can use the fridge with these on in the winter. This is your freshwater inlet, so it opens and locks with a small key. All the other locks open with a habitation key, including the habitation door. Get a hose pipe, put a hose pipe in there until it overflows, or until you're happy you've got enough water on board, which you can see on the main control panel. Carry some hose pipe fittings with you, because it's mainly just a brass tap on most sites. And then should you have filled the water and you want to empty the water, this is how you'd empty your fresh water. So you would do this if you've taken on contaminated water, you're not using the vehicle for a couple of weeks, or you're draining it down for the winter. You'd simply open it up and this is just fresh water. At the back here, this gives the indication of where the boiler is, as this is the boiler flue, so it just allows the fumes out from the boiler. At the back you've got your high level brake light, you've got your fuel bike rack bars, so if you wanted a bike rack to fit onto this model, this is where the back panel has been strengthened. And then this is your underbed storage, but your boiler is to the right hand side. So your boiler does two jobs: heats the vehicle and heats the water. So it heats 10 litres of water at any one time. This little drain down toggle is a double jointed drain down toggle, so when it's on its side, it's holding 10 litres of water. What you need to do is you need to lift it up, and you'll notice the water comes draining out underneath the chassis. This will drain off your 10 litres of water in the winter to stop the water from freezing in the boiler. You'd open this, open the fresh and the waste outside, open all the taps within the vehicle and leave them in the mixer, in the middle of the mixer, open. Take your shower head off your shower hose to stop any water from coiling up in there, and lie the hose in the tray. And then when you come to reuse the vehicle, shut the boiler, shut the fresh and the waste outside, assemble all the taps back shut, build your shower head back up, and then put some water in via a hose pipe, filling it from this side. Go in, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first, you'll get automatic pressurised cold water. Go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises, and all it's doing is it's purging the water through the system until you get a free flow of water from the hot side of the tap. This is when you know that your system is then primed for the season. On the passenger side at the back, you've got your LPG, so this is liquid petroleum gas. So again, opening with a habitation key this locker, push the catches in, and you can fit two 6 kilogram propane bottles in here. This is our test bottle, so what you do when you get the bottle on board is put the strap on to keep the bottle secure when travelling, and then to connect the pigtail to the bottle, it's a left hand thread with gas, so opposite threads, left to tighten, right to loosen, and then turn on and off from the top of the bottle. Always make sure you turn it off before you start travelling, and then when you arrive on your site you can turn your bottle on. You can fit a spare in here as well, and make sure it's all strapped in securely so that it's safe for when you're travelling. Going further down, you've got your Cassette Loo. So this is where your cassette toilet lives. So as long as the blade's closed, which I'll show you inside the vehicle what the blade is, which is on the bottom bowl of the toilet, you'll be able to lift and slide the cassette free of the vehicle. You can then wheel it to your waste disposal site, which is normally next to your toilet block. You take the cap off and expose the end like so. Press the blue button and you'll be able to tip the cassette out. Once you've tipped it out, there's normally a tap there, so you put some water in, put the cap back on, give it a rinse and tip out again. Then with the cap is 120 millilitres capacity, so you'd fill this with your chemical and then tip it into the cassette and it's good to go back into the van. If you were using the tablet form, which is in the cellophane sachets, you put a pint of water in the cassette, which you can either do with the cassette out the vehicle or you can push it in completely dry. Open the blade and flush a pint of water in, followed by one tablet chemical, which can either be the blue or the green, it's your choice. But you'll need 120 milliliter of liquid or one cellophane chemical to go in. Got your awning light above your washroom window. Your step is controlled here. This does go in when the engine is started. And you've got your entrance light, or should I say your step light for your entrance step. And then at the passenger door you've got your diesel filler, which opens with the main ignition key. And then because this is a new style diesel engine, to keep the emissions low, it's been fitted with the Adblue system. So this is a 19 litre tank of Adblue. It'll indicate on the dash when it needs Adblue. You can either buy it on the pumps like the HGVs, or you can buy it in the drums. You'll tend to find though buying it on the pump is slightly cheaper than buying it in the drums. But always make sure that this Adblue system is topped up when the light comes on. Failing that, the vehicle could go into limp mode or fail to start if it goes completely dry of Adblue. Got your tyre pressures here, so 5.5 bar front and back, which is 79.5 psi. Got your tool kit underneath your passenger seat, which is a jack and a brace and a tone eye. Engine battery lives underneath this compartment, so if you ever need to remove the engine battery or replenish the battery, you have to get through this cover in the floor. And your bonnet releases on the side of the passenger dashboard. So if we have a quick spy underneath the bonnet, you've got all your fluids to the left hand side. So you've got your screen wash here, just tucked away in the corner. Then this cover lifts off and this is your radiator coolant, brake fluid, engine oil. There is no dipstick, it's all done on the instrument cluster on the dashboard. Paint code for the Expedition Grey 676. You've got an earth for giving or receiving a jump start, and then using your key or a screwdriver just behind the passenger headlight, lifting this cover exposes the positive terminal for giving or receiving a jump start, which goes underneath the cab floor to jump start your battery. You'll also notice here you do have your weight plate, so 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight. Second one down from the top, 4750 is your train weight. So your motorhome, if you were to put a tow bar on it, your motorhome and whatever you're towing can't exceed 4,750 kilograms. So once inside the motorhome, above the habitation door, you've got your main 12-volt control panel, and you've got your Truma heating and hot water panel. So I'll start off with this one first. So when getting into the motorhome, depending on if you hooked up or you're not. If you're hooked up, you'll have 240 volt. All your 3-pin plugs on board will work. If you're not, then you'll just have 12 volt. So this is your master switch here, where you turn the motorhome on and off. Underneath, you've got your lights. So this is a master switch for the lights. Then they all are individually switched around the motorhome. And then if you're needing to use taps, toilet or shower, you've got to put the pump on to pressurise the water. Otherwise you'll just get whatever's left in the lines until it dribbles out. So you'd put the pump on to pressurise your water flow. And then you'll hear the pump kick in, and all that's doing is it's just pressurising the system. This side you do have your awning light, which is the light outside above the habitation door. And then this one, you can scroll through this panel here, so it'll tell you Sergeant EC362 unit. So that's just a home screen. Press again, it'll tell you how good your leisure battery is. Press again, it'll tell you the voltage of your vehicle battery. And then press again, it'll tell you how much is in your fresh water. So there it's saying it's 100% full of fresh water and 0 waste. And then it'll say select battery equals leisure. So you always want the active battery to be the leisure battery. So that means whatever the motorhome side is running is always running off the leisure battery, which is the second battery on the vehicle. You don't want it to run off the vehicle battery because it could flatten it and then you'll not be able to start the engine. So always make sure that says leisure. And then you can adjust the time for when the clocks go back and forth. Come to this side, you've got your Truma heating and hot water panel. So to turn on and off, you just press and hold. So it's a long press to turn off, and then you can press it to come on. This is the standby screen, so to get into it you would press again, enter. You'll notice that there's a motorhome with a thermometer flashing in the top left hand corner. This is how hot you want the inside of the vehicle, so this is the thermostat. So you can turn all the way to 30 degrees or all the way to off if you are away in the summer and you didn't want any heating on. So for this we'll just say 30 degrees and you would press enter. Moving on, you've got the water with the thermometer in. This is how hot you want your water. So make sure you've got enough water in first, then you can turn the water on. Because if you didn't have any water in, it is like boiling a kettle without any water in. You can fry the element. So you'd have it off. Eco is 40 degrees of heating your water. Hot is 60 degrees of heating your water. And boost will turn off the heating to prioritise the water first. And then once the water's to temperature, the heating will kick back in. So for this we'll just say hot, which is 60 degrees of heating the 10 litre hot water container. Moving along again, you've got a gas bottle and an electricity sign. This is what you're heating the water and the vehicle off. So starting off, you'd have gas. So you'd use gas if you're wild camping, you were parked in a field or a lay-by in the middle of Scotland. So you'd use gas because you wouldn't have any electric. You've got a mixture of 1 kilowatt of electric and gas. You've got a mixture of 2 kilowatts of electric and gas. So you'd use mixture 2 more than mixture 1, but you'd only use mixture 2 if you're away in the winter months. Because what that'll do is that's both sources together. So it'll boost the time it takes to heat the water or the vehicle if you're away in the colder weather. You've got electric on 1 kilowatt. And you've got electric on 2 kilowatts. So normally you would use electric on 2 kilowatts in most camping and caravan and club sites, but if you're away on a smaller CL site, then you may have to use electric on 1. But do ask your site what current they give you through your hookup lead and the ampage, because sometimes it can be 12, sometimes it can be 16. So if it was 12, you'd probably want to use 1 kilowatt. If it was 16, you can use 2. But they'll tell you when you book in onto your site. And then in the top right hand corner you've got a fan, so you've got it on eco or high. So this is a 12 volt assisted fan, so you can have it on eco if you're away and you are wild camping. It'll take a smaller feed from the 12 volt leisure battery, or you can have it on high if you want to circulate the heat more around the vehicle. What I would do is I would put on eco as well when you were sleeping, because the fan can be a little bit noisy when on high. In the bottom left hand corner you've got a timer, so you can time it to come on and off, just the once though. You can set the time on the digital control panel, and then should you get a warning triangle, it's indicating that there's a fault. So you've either run out of gas, you're not hooked up, or the boiler could have just faulted itself. What you can do is you can go into the spanner, which is in the bottom right, click on reset, it'll come up preset, click again, and what it'll do is it'll completely restart this control panel. So what you'll have to do is go back through and set the temperature of the vehicle, the water, the energy source, the fan, and so on. And then to turn off, you just press and hold until it starts turning itself off, like so. To operate the Dometic style fridge freezer, your energy selection is here. So you've got off at the top. Next one down is mains 240 volts. So this will act as a household fridge. So if you're pre-chilling at home, you can put it on to mains electric, or if you're on site, you wouldn't want to waste your gas, so you would use mains electric as well. Then you've got the battery underneath, which is a 12 volt feed from when the engine is running. So if you've pre-chilled it at home and you've put your shopping in the night before and it's nice and fresh and chilled, pop it down onto the battery setting, and then when you start the engine, it'll get a 12 volt feed and it'll keep your shopping nice and fresh for as long as you travel. So it'll basically turn it into a big cool box. It'll get no cooler, but it'll not get any warmer. Then if you're wild camping, you'd go down to the gas. So the gas is the bottom, then this is your temperature, so you can adjust the temperature on all sources, but you turn it to the max, push it in, spark igniter, and you want to wait for this orange band to go into the green. Once it's in the green, you would let go, and this will light your fridge on gas. So you'd only use gas if you're wild camping and you had no other source available. If you're going to sites, you'd use the electric, and then traveling between sites, if you were touring, or between home and site, once you've pre-chilled the fridge, you'd use the battery setting, which is your engine battery. It's not your leisure battery. And then finally with the fridge, what you want to do is, when you've finished using it for the season, take everything out, clean it out, and then the last thing you want to do is shut the door, because it forms an airtight seal, and all that clean air will become mouldy, smelly air. So what you want to do is, on the side of the light there's a little nib, push it in, these two toggles come out, and what that does is it stops the door from locking on itself. And as you can see there, it's loose, so it allows air in and out the bottom of the fridge to circulate, to stop any mold or bacteria growing in the fridge. So in the kitchen area, you do have 3 gas burners. So using the igniter on the front of the cooker face, you'll be able to light your hobs. A top tip when lighting any gas appliance, once you've lit the appliance, if you just hold on and keep the knob held in for about 3 seconds after, it'll allow the thermocouple nib to get hot, which keeps the valve open so it doesn't close and stop the gas supply. And that's the same with the oven and grill. So you do have your grill, and then below that you've got your oven. You may want to wrap these up or remove these, as they can be the main cause of rattling when on the road. Below you've got your plug for your fridge, 3 grey gas taps. These are for your gas appliances. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. Any problems with gas, isolate the bottle to be safe, but these do isolate each individual appliance. Got some storage, the large cupboards. Cutlery drawer, normal drawer, fridge freezer, tower socket, so pulling it up, you then turn the the socket power on and off, and you've got 3 sockets there for your kettle and various other appliances in the kitchen. And then on the windows you've got a blackout blind and a fly screen. To open your windows, releasing the levers, push it out, turn these to keep the window out so it keeps the stay in place. And then you would release to bring the window in. Kitchen light is located just underneath the cabinet there. Storage, and more storage for your crockery and bits and pieces above your kitchen. Across from the kitchen you do have your washroom. So it's quite a nice washroom with the shower being separate, but it's all in one. But you do have the step down into the shower. So to operate your toilet, make sure the pump's on, and you'll be able to press this blue button underneath the Thetford logo, which is your freshwater flush. Flushes the toilet, so you always want to flush the toilet first before use, and then you want to open the blade. And to open the blade, it's this grey lever here on the bowl of the toilet. Slide it to the right. Flushing first helps to keep the blade and the seal lubricated. Use the toilet, flush after use, and then what you do is you just slide this back to the left. Once it's in this position, should the cassette ever be full, you'll be able to get it out, and you always want to get into a habit of closing the cassette after use. If you are using the pink liquid, there's nowhere for the pink liquid to go because it isn't a header tank, but what you can do is put it into a spray bottle, spray the bowl of the toilet before you flush, and it'll do the same job. When the cassette's full, it'll indicate on the back left hand corner of the toilet, showing green there, which means it's empty. It'll start to go to red until it goes to a solid red, which means it's time to empty the cassette. You've got your bathroom light just hidden underneath the toiletry cabinet there. Frosted window, but it opens the same as all the other windows. There's your hot water coming through there, nice and warm. And then you've got your large shower. So you've got a turnbuckle on there for the shower screen when travelling. Make sure it's isolated and secure. And then you've got your shower head. And like I was saying, when winterising, just unscrew it, take this off the holder and lie it in the tray, because you can see it's got quite a big loop in there, and leave all the taps open. At the back of the vehicle on the Expedition C71, you do have a fixed island bed. So you can push the bed up like so, and this is in day position, so you can get round the bed. And then what you can do is there's a lever here underneath the bed, pull that down, and then once you put some weight on the back of the bed there, it will fold flat. And then pushing it up, you'll hear it ratchet, and the headboard will come up on the back of the mattress. Storage, you've got a privacy screen here which comes across, and there's a little magnet on the side of the washroom there, just in case you do have guests in the front of the vehicle. You can black out the back of it. For hanging rail, these are your infill cushions for your bed makeup at the front, which I'll get onto when I do the front bed makeup. Light switches located here, so you can turn your lights on. So you've got lights underneath, right the way across the top and underneath the cabinets. On this side you don't have a wardrobe, but you do have shelving, so you can put your folded clothes in there, and then pressing the release on the back here will release your cabinets, and you've got a good amount of storage above the bed. Individual reading lights, you can turn them on and off depending on who wants the reading light on and who doesn't, so you can choose which one you want on. You do have some storage at the back, so you've got access from the back locker, and your boiler's this side. but you do have storage under here. So with the boiler being under here, if you're storing any bedding or anything under here for the front beds, or any shoes, any extra clothing, when the boiler's on it gets warm under here, so it'll keep your clothing and your items that you're storing warm, and it'll not get cold and damp when underneath the vehicle. Above the cab you've got your additional 2 berths, so when travelling you can have this up like so, because it's on gas struts, to keep all your spare bedding and bits and pieces towards the back when travelling. But always make sure that you're putting soft lighter things up here and nothing heavy and hard in case it does fall down. And you put your board down like so, clip the ladder on here. You've got a net safety bar should you be putting children up here, so on either side there's 2 clips, so that'll just clip up like so. And then your mattress you just fold over once it's out the protection bag, and you can dress the bed, and that would be another double bed above the cab. Same window for the skylight with fly screen one way and blackout blind the other. And you do have a light on here as well, which you can turn on and off from the top of the light. Above the backward facing dinette seat in the locker behind the driver's seat, you do have your AC176 unit. So you've got a system shutdown button here which will turn the unit off, which will allow no power drain. We've got the heater and the charger on mains electric, so make sure these are on and just leave them lit up, and they'll only work when on electric. Obviously your heater does work off gas, so this is just the 240 volt element to it. You've got all your 12 volt fuses which are listed here what they do, so do carry some spares, and then you can replenish the fuse. And then if you do blow or trip a fuse on mains electric, look under this cover, and this is where your RCB is and your MCBs. Unique build number, which are unique to every Auto Trail build, so if you ever need parts in the future, quote that number or a warranty claim on the vehicle. The build number will allocate the right parts to your vehicle. So this is how your infill cushions and base cushions will look when the bed is formed for the front single bed. So you do have the backrest from on here slides down and the base cushion pulls forward. The small infill cushion goes in the middle of the side facing seat and the half dinette, and then on top of the table goes your 2 larger infill cushions. So with the table, what you have to do is, the table has 2 clips that rest on the bar, so if you pull it to 90 degrees you'll be able to lift it onto the bar and lift it off. So lifting it off like so, you'll see the 2 clips on the top which clip on like so, and then your leg, there's a little button on there, so it folds in half when it's down for the bed, and when you want to use the table you would just pop the leg into full position, and that would be the table made. On this side, if you remove the cushions, first of all, this board lives here when the lounge is made up. So what you do is, lifting this section here, you'll see a grey leg. So put the leg away when storing, put the leg down for extra support when making the bed up. That slides back, and then there's 2 press studs which clip on here to stop this from pulling forward when you're driving. So that would go into there, and this would come right up to here. You'll also notice in here you've got storage, you've got a 20 amp battery fuse, and your leisure battery lives underneath here. So you've got a 100 amp hour banger leisure battery in here. Should you be fitting a additional battery, the additional battery will go in a battery box in here next to the original leisure battery supplied by the factory. So now in the cab, which is based on the all new Fiat Ducato Series 8, so it gets a new design dashboard, new design door cards, lighter steering wheel and digital clocks. So starting off via the right hand side of the driver's seat, this is where the handbrake is, and then on the doors, to black them out, you do have Remus car blinds, which is an option on the Expeditions. So if you press and slide, so pinch it with your thumb and your finger, that'll black the driver and passenger doors out. And then if you do the same on the windscreen, meet in the middle, they are just magnetic, and that will black your cab out. On the top of the door card, on the driver's door, you do have your electric windows, driver and passenger, and mirrors. So you've got 2 mirrors each side, so you've got the top and the bottom being the blind spot. Headlight adjustment. You've got an eco button there, so that just saves a bit of fuel, so you can pop that on or pop that off. And it'll tell you if eco connected, eco disconnected on the clock there. And then you do have your rear fog lights, and then if you want to turn off your start stop, you can disable that from here as well. Wipers, lights and indicators. Your cruise control is now on the steering wheel on the Series 8, so you've got cruise control, and it'll say cruise control ready, and then you would just set by plus and minus. Should you have to cancel it, you can cancel it here without touching the brake and then resume. And then you can speed up and slow down via the plus and the minus, or you can press limiter and it'll say cruise control off, speed limiter ready, and then you can set that, and it'll, in the bottom corner it'll say lim, and then you would just turn up your speed limiter to the speed you want to set it to. On this side of the steering wheel, this will go through your trip computer, so it'll tell you your range, so how much fuel you've got left to empty, and the miles per gallon that the vehicle is doing. That's on 1. If you go to page 2, it'll tell you your miles per gallon, so that's your instant miles per gallon. The other one is your combined miles per gallon. You've got your, because it doesn't have a dipstick, it's got a digital oil reader for your level. It'll tell you your oil level, and then if you use the 2 side buttons, you can scroll through this one. So you've got your oil level, your oil temperature, your oil life, your battery level for your engine battery, your Adblue level, and your service. But please remember that 28,795 mile that's shown now isn't until the motorhome needs service. The motorhome needs serviced yearly, so every year, first year an oil and filter, and every second year a major service where all the filters are replaced in line with Auto Trail's warranty, because a motorhome doesn't cover 28,000 in a year like a courier van would. Then you can go to if there's any alerts on the next page by scrolling down, and then you've got all your vehicle setups. So you've got your display, your clocks, your language, your security, so passenger airbag, speed beep if you go over a certain speed limit, the buzzer volume, you can, and your lights, your courtesy lights. So when locking it, you can set the lights to stay on to go off immediately, stay on for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, or 90 seconds. And then your doors unlock, so you can have the auto lock facility where once you go over a certain speed, I think it's like once you get into second gear, over 10 miles an hour, the doors will lock on the cab. You can have them off or on if you want that. And then you can have your, when you unlock the vehicle, if you want the lights to flash, which is automatically set, if you don't, you can turn that off. But that's all in there, which is all explained in the handbooks with the vehicle. 6-speed manual gearbox with lifter collar into reverse. Down here you've got your heated mirrors, your hazard lights, locks the doors, which is just the cab. Turns your traction control off and turns it back on. So anti-skid control, ESC. On the outside ring you've got your temperature. On the inside ring you've got your fan speed. On at least one or more for the aircon to work, which is this button here, which brings on the white light. On the outside ring on this side you've got your distribution, so where you want your air to be circulated to, and whether you're recirculating air within the vehicle or you're bringing fresh air in. Cup holders, so you've got 2 in the front, one in the door pockets for a bottle, and then some handy little storage cubbies there. USB for charging, so you've got a USB-C and a normal USB and a 12 volt. Glove box, heated and cooled glove box via the air conditioning on the top of the driver's dashboard, or should I say passenger dashboard. And then you've got 2 USBs in here if your model is fitted with the Accent head unit. So this is the Accent head unit. So you've got radio, which is FM, Apple CarPlay, which is where you would connect through here if you've got an Apple iPhone. It will imitate the screen onto there, so you can use Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waves, and that will project it onto the screen. And you can also play your music and various other bits and pieces through there, Spotify, Apple Music. DAB, so you've got DAB radio there. Go to the list and you can find them all, and then you can press 6 to save your favourite channels. Go back to home, which is the top button on the left hand corner. You forget about the camera because the Expeditions aren't fitted with the cameras. You've got USB, so should it, because it doesn't take a CD, if you were wanting to put a lot of CDs onto a big USB stick, again you can plug it into the USBs that are fitted into the top glove box on the passenger side. SD card, again you can put onto an SD card if you wish, and you can put into a micro SD which goes in the top right. Bluetooth, you can connect your phone, so you want to be searching at the same time as this is searching on your phone, and it'll come up with the name of your phone on here, and you just press pair. You'll get a notification on your device. It'll say Accent wanting to pair, make sure pins match, press pair, and then it'll ask you if you want to download your phone book. Just press allow, and that will sync all of your contacts into here, so then you'll be able to press keypad, contacts, call log, that'll all be saved. But if you wanted to use Bluetooth music, you'd have to go onto the phone and press the music icon, which is in the bottom right, for that to start working. You've got your volume here, and then you've got your shortcuts to your favourite camera. Obviously there's no camera fitted, but you could wire a camera to this should you wish, as it'll be camera ready, as it's got the camera software on there. And then above the head unit, paper clip, or if you pull this lever here, so a lot of people struggle with these. All you need to do is get it from the back. It's plastic, give it a pull, don't be afraid to pull it too hard. Pull the lever out, pop your device in there, and then close the lever, and that'll lock the jaws, so it locks your device in there, and then the door just folds back neatly.